Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. This episode is brought to you by Addo Aesthetics, the #1 coaching company for spa industry professionals wanting to step into the role of spa CEO. And I am so excited to share this week's interview with you. So last week, we were talking about, over inside the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group, I was asking you the type of guests that you wanted to hear on the show. We're planning out 2023. We're really, as usual, up-leveling, wanting to bring the highest caliber, highest quality guest for you to help you grow your business. And Marsha Kilgore's name was brought up. She's the founder of Bliss, several other very successful companies in our industry. She's also an esthetician. I believe that today's guest is of that same caliber. The impact that she's making in our industry, size of the business she's created, the just forethought of how she's developed her brand into so many different divisions. It's really incredible, really inspiring. So Jia Kim, she's the founder of a skincare line called Savor Beauty. I love their tagline. It's Korean beauty in a New York minute. So her story, as she shares on this episode, is really about the inspiration of Korean beauty. She is Korean. She was inspired by her mother. It's a really beautiful story, but it's showing that, most of us working moms, we don't have the time to do the 15 layers of, however long it takes for true Korean beauty with all of the layers. So she's taken it and made it into a way that we can still experience those rituals and really infuse self-care, self-love into our day when we're doing our nighttime routine. So really, really love that. And she's taken this skincare line, Savor Beauty, and she's expanded it into so much more. So she's got 2 facial spas in Manhattan that are focusing around her Korean skincare rituals. She also has planners. She has a book that is just incredible, the way that she's taken this skincare line and expanded it in so many different areas of her company to truly reach women and help them with self-care. So it's a really, really beautiful thing, really inspirational. So I want to go ahead and read her bio for you, and then we'll go ahead and jump into that interview. So Jia Kim is the founder of Savor Beauty, a natural skincare and facial spa brand inspired by Korean beauty and self-love rituals, and a former international classic concert pianist. Called The Unexpected Beauty Virtuoso by MindBodyGreen, she created the award-winning skincare line in her kitchen, became an accidental entrepreneur, and built a multi-million-dollar enterprise around the philosophy of manifesting beauty, brilliance, and balance. She's led hundreds of women empowerment workshops, and her Savor Beauty self-care planner has sold over 100,000 copies. A highly recognized skin and self-care expert, her skincare and her spas in New York City have been chosen as Best of New York and featured in top publications such as the New York Times, Vogue, Elle, People, Allure, Well and Good, and more. Angela lives in New York City with her tween daughter and mini golden retriever and philanthropic partner. It's such a beautiful interview, and make sure to check out the links below this episode as well. Angela's got some opportunity for those of you who are interested in carrying Savor Beauty, the Korean skincare line, in your spa. And she talks about it a little bit in the episode as well. So definitely check it out. And without further ado, let's go ahead and play that interview. All right, Angela, welcome to the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I have no idea where this conversation is going to go because there are so many. You are a talented woman, an accomplished woman. I'm so excited to share your story. You're a mom, you're a business owner, you made it through the pandemic, all of these things.
Yes.
And I want to talk about that from the beginning. How do you have the balance to you talk about self-care. I was looking at your book, all the rituals and all of that. It's like, okay, does she have 15 people supporting her in, every single thing that she's doing? Where do you want to start in this story?
Well, I know. Well, first of all, it's such a pleasure to be here with you, Daniela. We have a lot in common and we have a lot to talk about. So I know it's like, where do we even start? So, I'm a single mom in New York City, and my daughter's 13 years old, and I have a 3-year-old golden retriever. Her name is Zoe. My daughter's name is Sienna. And I'm the founder of Savor Beauty, which is an organic skincare brand inspired by Korean beauty rituals. And really, I call us an esthetician line because I have 2 spas in New York City on the Upper West Side and in the West Village. We only exclusively offer facials. And so I'm surrounded by estheticians all day long. And to answer your question, I do have a lot of help, a lot of support. It takes a village to raise a business, but you can do it solo because that's how I started. And I just grew it from scratch to multiple 7 figures. You mentioned the book. It's called Radical Radiance, 12 Weeks of Self-Love Rituals. It's really a book on how to fall in love with your soul through self-love rituals. And I provide 52 different rituals on how you can improve your relationship with yourself. Because I believe that there's a spiritual 7 figures. You can build your business in a very spiritual way, but you need to raise your radiance in order to raise your revenue. That's my big thing.
Okay. So I feel like, in the past, there's a lot there. I have like 100 questions.
Okay.
But I want to tag onto this radiance thing for just a minute, because in the past year, and my listeners know this, I've been very focused on the feminine. I feel like entrepreneurship and this kind of hustle hard mentality is a very masculine energy, focusing on numbers, spreadsheets, which is where I live, right? I am very much a spreadsheets, numbers person, but allowing that like self-care and flow and femininity, I think is a really, what I've been learning about myself is allowing that to come more into the way that I operate my business has actually been incredibly beneficial. So I don't know if if you felt anything similar around that, and that's, maybe one of the drivers in why you wrote the book, or if you tell me more about that.
Well, I definitely, I used to be a concert pianist. And so I was an artist and I had 0 business experience. I didn't have a lot of connections. I didn't have the money, the funds to start a business. I bootstrapped this business. So the only thing I had on my side was creativity and working hard. And when you work as hard as one does tend to have to do when you're building a business, you do get into that masculine energy of do, hustle, hustle, hustle. And, I think I became masculine energy in overdrive. And
especially in New York City, which is
New York City. Yes. I mean, just to keep it real with you, in order to even when I opened up my first little boutique spot at 450 square feet, rent in New York City is astronomical, and it can range from anywhere from, $8,000 all the way to $40,000. A month. And then all of the landlords, they require 3 to 6 months security. And so it's no joke when you launch a spa in Manhattan. So I was definitely on overdrive. And so I love that, Daniela, you just spoke about, you highlighted the feminine energy, because that's something that I really started to embrace in the last 3 years, when I thought to myself, I'm driving myself to the ground. I'm so tired. I go to bed feeling like I want to cry because all I can hear in my voice is, you need to do this, you need to do that, payroll, all these things were stacking up, managing the managers, managing the estheticians, managing inventory.
You're a mom too.
And this little kid that's saying, I'm hungry, mom. And then I felt like such a failure as a mom. It's like, oh my gosh. So, I don't know if you've ever felt that overwhelm and drowning in all of this stuff that needs to get done. And then on top of it, Daniela, I would go to bed and I'd be like, I don't think I like myself anymore. Like, I don't know who I am. I don't like myself. So I went on this journey of self-love and radiance. And it starts with, for me, it started with skincare because, you know, I'm Korean, and my mom, as you probably know, Korean women are obsessed with skincare.
Oh, yeah.
And so she always said to me something very important. She said, Angela, treat your skin like the most expensive silk on earth. And I thought at one time when I was going to bed, as I was washing my face, I thought, well, what if I also treated myself like the most expensive silk on earth? And that meant, like, when it started with washing my face, double cleansing, you know, the double cleanse technique. So in Savor Beauty, we've numbered all of the skincare 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And step 0 and 1 is the double cleanse kit. And so what I would do is I would wash my face. First, I would use the coconut pre-cleanse oil, the jasmine coconut pre-cleanse oil. And I would just say, I'm resetting my skin and soul. And I would clean every single pore out, you know, thoroughly. And, you know, the heavenly sense of coconut and jasmine was very soothing to me. And it was symbolic. It was like, I'm going to pull out all the toxins from my body as well, from my spirit as well. And then I would layer on the Pearl Cleansing Cream, which has these crushed grape seeds. And so it would sweep away the impurities. And as I was doing it, instead of roughly washing my face, I would treat my skin like the most expensive silk. And I would say to myself, I feel purified. And then
It truly is a ritual. You're going through a ritual for like a self-care ritual.
Yes. And there's nothing that I love more than to take a shower, light a candle, play Ella Fitzgerald, do my body scrubs, exfoliate, and then, and then wash my face with these essential oils, these aromas. And, you know, it's just something where I'm treating myself like I'm worth it. And it's a shift, you know, and
it's a shift in the energy and how you show up and how you allow others to treat you.
Yes. And I'm really happy because my daughter sees that, and I see her taking her time now. She takes her showers at nighttime and morning time, but she takes these showers at nighttime. I see her playing her music, and she's taking her time to take care of herself. And she does her skincare ritual at nighttime as well. So what you said is so true. Everything is energy. And so going to bed and treating myself with that level of respect, then I say, I'm not thinking about work anymore at nighttime. I'm going to bed. I'm enjoying myself. I have a beautiful partner now, and we enjoy ourselves, and we have our, evening rituals. And it's like, I regain my life. And I regained my soul, and I learned how to fall in love with who I am, and I think that's really important, because I want to talk about how that really embracing that feminine energy really helped with the business in just a second. But what you're talking about, the feminine energy, was so important that I dedicated week number 5. It's separated into different weeks to awaken your feminine energy.
Oh.
What I thought was enormously awakening was when you embrace your feminine energy. This means feeling all your senses, the visuals, making sure that your environment is beautiful. I love that, because it really, for me, I'm a very visual person. So it stimulates, the beauty of the surroundings, whether it's red roses or just a painting that you love, all the way to playing music in the background, just so that it's soothing. It creates an environment of safety. I fell in love during the pandemic with cooking. I never cooked, and I started cooking because we all had to. And, just now I find it meditative, smelling the amazing basil, parsley, everything I'm cooking with, and all the way to chopping, because it's hands-free. So you can't do anything like checking your emails, or it's a digital detox for now.
Got to be focused. Yeah. I have a boundary with that, where I'm doing dinner every night with my kids, sitting at the table. That's the rule. Yep.
I love that. Oh my gosh. What are you cooking tonight?
Tonight, it's already in there. It's pot roast, but I don't eat meat, or I don't eat red meat. My husband really wanted it. So tonight's pot roast night, that they're getting that, and I'll have something else, but I can smell it. It smells so good. The whole house already.
You know what? And what I love about that is, first of all, doesn't it create like a home feel, right?
Yes.
And then that's a memory your kids will never forget.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. I love it. And it creates a sense of coziness that I just love.
Home. So all
let's not mistaken, because the reason why I never really embraced my feminine is because I thought feminine energy was weak. I was like,
Right. And it's
weak.
actually so powerful.
It's very powerful. It's intuitive. And when you plug into your intuition, your all knowing, your wisdom, your sage wisdom, you are, you become powerful beyond. Like this morning when one of my employees, she was just asking this question. She's asked it 5 times. And I said, the answer is no. We're not saying no to abundance. And that just like, I think in the past, I would have gotten upset. I would have become irritated. I would have become, my burnt out self would have shown up burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe I would have said no to her in an irritated, unkind way. My no today was very intuitive. It was strong. And she just was like, all right, there was no mistaking about what I meant. There was absolute clarity and strength in my message. Right.
So important. So I
let's-
wanted,
Oh, yes.
I wanted to just clarify, did the skincare start before the spas, or did the spa start and then you developed the skincare?
The skincare started first.
Okay.
And when I opened in the West Village, it was 450 square feet. And it's a celebrity studded street. It's West 11th. And, all of these celebrities live there. And I thought, well, we are going to make so much money because all these celebrities live here. And then I quickly noticed on day 3 that there were no walkers, passersby. And celebrities live there because it's private. It's totally discreet. And so that was my mistake. But, this lady walked in one day and she asked me, do you offer facials? And I don't know, that was my intuition. We didn't. And I just said, yes, come back in 3 days. Got together everything, got my esthetician, hired her, got her prepped. We had been offering skincare to spas. So there were protocols, but we weren't a spa, for sure not. And then little by little, we started to get really great Yelp reviews. Magazine editors started coming in, and I've been on this podcast tour for the Radical Radiance book, and the beauty editor of MindBodyGreen, she just said the most beautiful thing to me. She said, Angela, when I was an intern at Self Magazine, all the magazine beauty editors said, you have to go to Savor Beauty. They have the best facials. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I started with nothing. I'm a girl from Iowa, and here all these New York City editors are saying these things. It really proves that you can build something out of nothing with passion, creativity, and love for what you do,
Do you think that drive is something you're born with or something that you're taught?
I think it's a personality trait to be type A. I would call it type A. Mm-hmm. But I think that passion overrules any drive. If you're really passionate, I call passion focused desire.
Okay.
So if you really focus on what it is that you desire and you hold the space, meaning you carve out time to focus on that desire, I think that is a healthier way to build, because drive drove me to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my hesitation with drive.
It's something that I always am trying to understand or navigate. And because for me, type A is almost a bad word, because I feel like there's this, perfectionism that so many of us get paralyzed by. And the type A, I want to do every single thing. If you tell me to, like if we're going to do a membership, then we're going to do boo, 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 boo. Or, it's like, I want to build my spa. I'm going to host an event. I'm going to do a membership. I'm going to build a sales funnel. I'm going to do, and it's like, let's do something well and get that done and then move to the next thing, because you can be paralyzed by perfectionism when building a business.
Yes.
So how have you navigated those moments of overwhelm? And I know you have your rituals. I know you're focusing on feminine energy, all of those things, but there are moments when, this is easier to do myself, or, like, can I keep going and do this? It would be so much easier to just go get a job or something along those lines for the women that are the moms and that are struggling, and the single moms at that, which is, just even more challenging than just raising kids in general.
Well, I think these are excellent questions. And it actually leads to what I wanted to talk about, raise your radiance to raise revenue. Because type A, it's funny because I always say we attract chill type A employees.
Oh, okay.
I would characterize myself as chill type A. So today I wasn't always like that. So how do you raise your radiance to raise revenue? And I think it's raising your radiance. I organize my day into be, do, savor now. It used to be that I would drive right into doing the minute I would wake up. What got me out of bed was to do. Now what gets me out of bed is to be. So I organize my day around be, do, savor, which is B is meditation. I do Kundalini yoga. I do a lot of breath work. I meditate on my vision. I meditate on manifesting. All this before I start my day. And then I plan out my day. Savor Beauty has a Savor Beauty self-care planner. So everything is planned out in a 5-step system. I like 5-step systems. And so I plan out my day. To me, planning is a form of self-care, because you are creating a vision for yourself. Planning is creating a vision for the day. Without a vision, it's very easy, especially if you're in the spa industry, to get driven by customers, get driven by employees, get driven by managers, get driven by business, So I want to create my vision and my structure and allow everything else to fall around that. And then after that, the do part is I start doing things like this podcast with you, or do things like I have today, for example, if I were to give a snapshot of what I'm doing today, it would be, I have employee reviews after this. I have meetings, Facebook ad meetings. We're coming out with a new SPF. So we have a meeting around that. So a lot of intense doing. And then receive. I think receiving is sitting in gratitude at the end of the day, doing the rituals, spending time with my partner, my daughter, my dog, enjoying eating. You're receiving when you're eating with your children and cooking with them, which is so beautiful. I love that. So I think that's a very important part of embracing feminine energy and then raising your radiance to raise your revenue. And then the other part of it is you talked a lot about, okay, let's say you want to do X, Y, and Z, do a membership drive, you said. And what you listed were different marketing activations. Right? Like, I forgot exactly what you said, but
we have a lot of people that they feel like if they do every marketing strategy under the sun, then something's going to work. And they're putting all their energy into so many different things instead of putting their energy into doing something well, getting that systemized, and then moving to the next thing. And so there's like, why isn't anything working? I'm doing everything, but it's spread very thin.
Yes. And then when you try to do it all, you do nothing well. And then your results are demi results, right? So I would agree with you 100%. And I think you used a key word that's very important. Master something and then systematize it. If you don't systematize it and put it into systematize sounds like such a big word. And I used to be so confused by it. All it is this is what we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
A repeatable process. We are lovers of systems over here. That is all we do.
Yes. We call them in my company recipes. We create recipes. It's
I love that. It's funny. We were doing a live event once and I was talking about systems, and one of the ladies, and she's like a very well-established business, but she was like, I just get sweaty even hearing the word systems. And I said, so call it a checklist. And she's like, that's so much better. Yeah. And so a recipe is even better than a checklist.
Yes. We call it, because, we're called Savor Beauty. Yeah. So everything is about, recipes and savoring everything. So I think, the other thing is marketing can feel like a bad word for a lot of people. They feel like, oh my gosh, I'd rather be in the treatment room, or I'd rather be doing my thing. Right. But marketing, I always say, treat marketing like a party, a themed party.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're starting to do a membership drive and you want to start sending out emails, your emails should feel like a party in your inbox. It's fun. Let's not forget, let's try to have fun with the process, which to me is another feminine energy quality. It's like, how can we have fun with this? Keep it light. Ladies,
Yes.
we are in the spa and beauty industry. And sometimes, because I tend to attract chill type A, but they get upset. They're perfectionists, right? As we kind of naturally tend to be. And they'll get, I always remind them. And it's funny because I used to have to be reminded of this. We're not surgeons. We're not
curing cancer here.
Yeah, we're not. And we're talking about beautiful things. What a privilege that we can talk about. How can we amp up your skin radiance? How do we handle, the hyperpigmentation and the breakouts? These are things that are just about beauty, and what a privilege it is, right? So let's have fun with this. This can be a lot of fun. So your emails can feel fun. We do monthly parties.
At your spa?
Our spas. So one way that we have fun with it is, I'm really into horoscopes and tarot card readings and crystals and everything.
I think okay. Hi. Are you my new best friend?
Yes,
we have it all here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The crystals. I got the cards right over here. We got
candles. Oh, great. So most of us in the spa industry, we've probably had to heal a part of ourselves, and part of it has been through these techniques, right? Mm-hmm. So what we do is we host, we're hosting a shop and dance party. And we're calling it Beauty's Night Out. And we have, an astrology reader there. If people spend $150 or more, they get a free astrology reading. They're going to be able to shop. And then we're going to be doing dancing because it's Sagittarius time for December. Mm-hmm. And Sagittarius trait is freedom. So we're going to encourage people to dance freely. And we have Sagittarius inspired cocktails there. So you see, it can be fun.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
So much fun. I love that.
I think we need to be reminded of, how do you make this whole process as fun and enjoyable as possible? And the other aspect of increasing your feminine energy, and as we're talking about raising your radiance, is you become more peaceful inside and less demanding of yourself, more forgiving. And as you said, not expecting perfection, although I bet you'll get much more perfection out of it by not expecting it and not by demanding it, and by inspiring,
And what a beautiful way to teach by example for your daughter.
Yes. And my daughter's going, in high school in New York City, it's very stressful. There's only like 5 to 10 really great high schools in New York City, public high schools. And you have to take this really demanding test. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the 8th graders, they prepare for it for like a year. And so she's been preparing for it. And the other day, I found her in bed crying, and I said, Sienna, what's wrong? And she said, I got a bad score on my test. I'm so worried and stressed out, mommy. And I said to her, sweetheart, you are not a number. So I said, you are so smart, and you are going to do your best. And even if you fail after you do your best, doesn't matter. Just do your best. That's all we ask for. Right. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lesson in this for all of us, because I said to her, you are not a number. You are not a number.
So powerful.
It's work out for you. Yeah. So same thing I'll tell me and you and all of the listeners who are building business. We are not a number, but I want exactly what you said, Daniela, which is so wise. Just do what you do well. Mm-hmm. Be thoughtful, be meaningful. Don't rush through it. Enjoy the process. I'm the first person to gloss over copy or gloss over something and just say, okay, we got to move on. But then I say to myself, where you are, be all there, and do it well. Yes. And let's prioritize. So, I always tell my employees, when you want to make that guest feel, or we don't even call them clients, we call them guests, make our guest feel like the most important person in the room. And so I remind myself to do that with my employees. When I'm with my employees, I don't want to be checking my emails. I don't want to be scattered as I was before, because I want to make her feel like the most important person in the room. like what she's doing is of value, because that will make her feel important. And then she will put the extra care into her work, right?
And I think especially in, we've been through 3 years of the pandemic. We're moving into kind of uncertain times, however you want to identify that. The power of personal connection and relationship is more valuable than ever. And I think that a lot of spas saw that through COVID is like, what were you doing? How are you reaching out to your clients or your guests or your patients or however you're calling them and making them feel seen, heard, valued? How are you letting them know that you're so grateful for their business? You're so grateful for knowing them as a human being. And I think that as the world kind of has gone back to quote unquote normal, a lot of those high touch things that people were doing during COVID to show that love and appreciation have kind of fallen off. And I feel that it's incredibly important to keep those there, especially as we're moving into whatever this time is. And it sounds like that's been a core value in your business from even before COVID.
Right. Yes, it is a core value. And, we have what you said reminded me, we have this wholesale division where we work with a lot of women-owned spas, and we work with a lot of solo estheticians, and they want to wholesale. They want to use our back bar and our retail products for their businesses, right? And so one thing that my wholesale manager and I work a lot on is how do we make each of these clients, each of our wholesale partners feel seen and heard, and a lot of them will reach out and say, hey, so how can we increase our retail sales? And so then just addressing it and listening to what their needs are and then helping them through those needs, they become loyal wholesale partners.
It's so and it's so important. Oftentimes when people will ask me like, what product line should I bring in? I'm like, what's the relationship that you have with the rep? How are they going to support you? How are they going to help you, in whatever way because the better that you do as a spa, the better of an account you're going to be for the skincare line that you're purchasing from. Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's
the quality of that relationship is very important, I think.
Very cool.
Making them feel seen and heard, to your point, is so important. I don't know. I feel like I forgot your question, but
I knew when this call, I was like, there's so many places that this can go. But before I ask you for all your links and all of that kind of stuff, what is the one thing that if you were going back to Angela when you very first were starting your business, starting the skincare line, what would you tell yourself?
The skincare line or the spa?
You pick.
They're different beasts. I think with the skincare line, when I first launched, I didn't want to share the Korean aspect of what I do. Because I grew up in Iowa, and it was predominantly a white environment. And so I was made fun of a lot as a child for my Koreanness, So I didn't embrace it right away because I felt like that was something that I wasn't proud of, And then when I thought about it, everything that I do is informed by the beautiful Korean beauty rituals. My mom was my muse when I made the skincare line. I made it. She's so picky, and my Korean aunts are so picky. And so I made it for them. And when they started to love it, I was like, I have a skincare product here and people love it. Like our clients love this line and they will stay with us.
And now Korean beauty is like a thing.
It's
a major thing. I mean, my family's all in Hawaii, so it's all Asian in Hawaii. Okay. So everybody's doing the 15 layers of all the serums and all the things. And I love on your website, you're like Korean beauty in a New York minute. So
yes, because as I said, I'm a single mom. How do I have time to put on 15 products? So I really designed it as a minimalist beauty line inspired by Korean beauty rituals in a New York minute. So I would go back and embrace it early on so that I embraced my whole self, right? For the spas, I will say that when you're getting into business, you really need to realize that people think that they're getting into the glitz and glam of being a spa owner or skincare brand owner, but really what you're getting into is sales and HR. And that's what I had zero experience in sales or HR. So I'm glad I went through all the mistakes and failures that I did to get to where we are today. And I'm sure there will be a horde more of mistakes, but a lot more successes too. So I think HR has been something that I would say learn more about it, learn about leadership, because that's going to be so important in being able to scale your business.
Yes. 100% agree.
And learning how to sell, because Daniela, the one thing I will say about estheticians and a lot of spas, I don't know what the numbers, sorry.
They're afraid to sell.
They're afraid to sell. But to me, I want to talk, we got to get on and talk about sales at another time, because I think sales is beautiful. You are adding value to someone's life, and you just need to learn how to do it in a way that creates the desire. So I will say that most spas, if I'm not mistaken, their retail sales is 5 to 10%.
Yep.
Ours is more. Yeah. Is that correct? Am I right on those stats?
The numbers that I know are somewhere between 5 to 7% for those in a medical environment, and it's slightly higher for those in a non-medical environment. However, we coach our clients to get to 50% retail to service in a non-medical, and then 30% retail to service in a medical.
And do you know what? And so we are at those numbers. And I will tell you that it is so important for your profit.
Oh, yeah.
You do not sell, and you do not teach your estheticians or therapists to sell. You've got to do that to get into the profits.
The repeat. I mean, there's been studies, I think it was Metaesthetics did a study that said if a client purchases 2 or more products from you, they're 90% likely to come back. Exactly. So the product purchase is what they're actually doing at home. It's going to be such an important part of keeping that result.
Right. Because think about it. It's marketing every night, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me where we can get your book, where we can learn more about your skincare line. Give me all your links that you want to share.
Okay. So you can get the book at Amazon or anywhere where you buy your books. And then when you go to radicalradiance.com, where I come out with a weekly blog, self-love, radiance lifestyle blog, you click on virtual goodie bag, and you can upload your receipt there, and you'll get goodies worth over $350. So I give away some of my best piece of advice that didn't make it into the book. It includes a manifestation workshop, 1-minute glow routine, including a $25 gift card to go shopping on savorbeauty.com. So I would love for you to connect with you on that. And then I play most on Instagram at Angela Jia Kim, JIA. And of course, you can go to savorbeauty.com if you're interested in inquiring about our wholesale program. Yeah, okay, where wonderful. We specialize with partnering with women entrepreneurs, women-owned spas, and solo estheticians. You can go ahead and go to savorbeautypartners.com, and you can also email us at partners@savorbeauty.com.
Wonderful. And so we'll also make sure that we get all of those linked up under the show. Angela, thank you so much. This has been, I'm going to actually re-listen to this episode. I never listened to our episodes, but I feel like there were so many nuggets and so many great bits of advice for our listeners. I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.